So, good day everyone and good day coach. So, we are the Study Hub 4 and now let's proceed with our topic 5 and now let's discuss the first one. We have postmodernism. So, postmodernism is an unstable term that defies definition that some philosophers ascribe postmodernist doctrines to. So, Nietzsche, while cultural theorists describe postmodernism as a consequence of late 20th century capitalist restructuring, whereas modernist cultural responses to the ephemeral character of modern life cling to ideas of unity. Postmodernism accepts difference and irreducible conflict in human affairs and plurality in ways of being and knowing. So used since the 1960s refer to anti-modernist strategies in architecture, art, and literary criticism. So the postmodernism did not appear in philosophy and social theory before the 1980s. So where it was linked to the work of French thinkers such as Baudrillard, Deleuze, Derrida, Foucault, and Lyotard. So for critics and defenders alike, postmodernism became associated with belief in a crisis in representation, abandonment of correspondence, theories of truth, universal reason, and unitary schemas of progress inherited from the Enlightenment. So critics such as Habermas assert that postmodernist anti-universalism is incapable of providing grounds for moral or political judgment, much less comprehensive programs for social reform. So defenders argue for a more limited and modest aim of working on the limit of what it is possible to think or to say, thereby contributing to the emergence of a new norms. So postmodernism achieves meta-narrative, those sweeping interpretations that totalize human experience in some monolithic way. So anything that reflects the past or present, hegemony or dead white males, according to Cook at 2001, page 15. So the postmodern stance is one of the doubtfulness of trusting nothing but at face value, of always looking behind the surface, of upsetting convention, wisdom. So this is under Cook 1994 at page 317. So influenced by Marxism, feminism, psychoanalysis, semiotics, and other theoretical models. So it is opposed to a formalist agenda, seeing it as both intellectually fruitless and politically conservative. So as a philosophy, postmodernism rejects concepts of rationality, objectivity, and universal truth. So instead, it emphasizes the diversity of human experience and multiplicity of perspectives. So in many ways, a postmodernist perspective is well suited to the utilization of photograph in IC records because it questions traditional notions of truth and the concept that records can have only one possible meaning. Academic disciplines have contended with the challenges of postmodernism since 1970s. So information profession as well as have questioned their own traditional stances of neutrality. The increase in archives and special collection repositories, graduate education programs, the impact of technology, and the greater emphasis on non-textual materials have given impetus to re-evaluation of traditional principles and practices. So some postmodern ideas have gained ground within the information professions, specifically with regard to the archival selection and appraisal, as archivists recognize the subjectivity of deciding which records to preserve and which to destroy. However, postmodernism has made significantly less headway in the area of arrangement and description of records, particularly analog and digital image, where many orthodoxies still reign. So now let's go to the origins of postmodernism. So the term postmodernism has been used in Latin American literary criticism since the 1930s and in Anglo-American debates since the 1940s in order to designate new forms of expression in their relationship with the aesthetic of modernism. So in history, the term was used by the British historian Arnold Toynbee in a study of a history in 1947 and designated the latest phase of Western civilization. So in sociology, it was introduced by Amitai et Zionis' book, The Active Society, in 1968. So starting with the early 1970s, the term appeared more and more frequently in sociological texts in France, North America, and the UK. At that time, it was already common stock in literary theory and criticism. So an essay written by French philosopher Jean-François Lyotard, The Postmodernist Condition, report on knowledge at 1979 played a sentimental role in making this term widely known and used in the social sciences. Therefore, postmodernism was partially a conceptual import, so its diffusion in 1970s was part of wider innovative movement in the discipline marked, among others, by the rise of social constructivism and feminism. So at the same time, it continued and reformulated the topics already in present sociology. And this postmodern era has been as liberating entity whereby fragmentation and proliferation cater for the growing niche consumer interest, facilitated by the growth in media, social media. This is in line with the new interpretation of the self as not being one distinct entity, but a culmination of multiple versions of the self that is enabled by new digitized world. And that concludes the whole discussion for the postmodernism from 1972 to the present. And thank you for watching. Now let's proceed with the other topic.
Hi guys, it's me Fatima Mariana Tarang from Study Hub number 4. And today, since you already know what postmodernism is, so my topic is all about the characteristics of the postmodernism of the literature. So first, we have the fragmentation. So postmodern literature often lacks a cohesive narrative structure, opting for disjointed plots and varying perspectives. So this fragmentation mirrors the complexity of contemporary life, where experiences can feel disordered and chaotic. So, authors such as Thomas Pynchon and Don DeLillo exemplify these characteristics by weaving together disparate elements, challenging their readers to find their own work connections, finding their own connections and meaning within the text. So next is we have the irony. So irony is a powerful tool in postmodern literature. So it is serving to question established norms and values. So by employing the satire and paradox, authors can highlight the absurdities of societal conventions and the instability of the meaning. So these characteristics encourage readers to recognize the influence of irony in interpreting culture, politics, and identity. So it is often revealing the contradictions underlying the human experience. So next is we have metafiction. So postmodern works frequently draw attention to their own fictional status, engaging with the reader's understanding of the narrative and reality. So reality. So this self-referential approach can break the fourth wall, making the reader acutely aware that they are engaging with constructed literary work. So writers like George Louis Borges and Italo Calvino exemplify this through stories that reflect on the act of storytelling itself, effectively blurring the boundaries between fictions and reality. Next is we have blurring of boundaries. So postmodern literature often deconstructs traditional boundaries, whether they can be between genres such as the mixing of fiction or non-fiction, or the disciplines such as literature or visual arts, or concepts of reality and presentation. So these characteristics can be seen in the works of authors like Salman Rushdie and Margaret Atwood. So who incorporate elements from the various genres and cultural contexts. So those are the authors that incorporate the elements. So creating hybrid forms that challenge the conventional classifications. So next is the rejection of grand narrative. Okay, so postmodernism critically assessed the overarching narratives that have historically shaped societies and cultures, such as the religion, ideology, and the history. So instead, it promotes a multiplicity of the perspectives, encouraging readers to embrace the ambiguity and complexity. So these characteristics often leads to the exploration of marginalized voices and stories that diverge from dominant historical accounts, as seen in the works of the author like Zadie Smith and Toni Morrison. So, in conclusion, class, the postmodern literature, with its emphasis on fragmentation, irony, metafiction, boundary blurring, and its rejection of grand narratives, invites the readers to engage in a more dynamic interpretation of text. So, it reflects the complexities and uncertainties of the contemporary life, challenging us as a reader to reconsider our understanding of reality, truth, and narrative. So that's all for our characteristics of the postmodern literature.
Hi everyone, I am Lavina Barbarera from Study Hub number 4, and today I am tasked to discuss about 3 of the famous and greatest author in English literature. So I will start with Thomas Pynchon. So a literary enigma and a master of postmodernism. So Thomas Pynchon is an American novelist, widely recognized as one of the most important and influential writers of the late 20th and early 21st century. So his works are known for their dense and intricate plots, complex characters, and exploration of themes ranging from history and science to paranoia and conspiracy. So Pynchon's enigmatic persona and reclusive nature have only added to his mystic, making him a subject of fascination for both literary scholars and general public. So Pynchon's literary career began with the publication of his first novel, which is V, in 1963. So this whimsical and
darkly satirical work follows a middle-aged Englishman's search for the elusive V, a mysterious figure who appears in various cases throughout history. So V was a critical success, winning the William Faulkner Foundation Award for Notable First Novel and becoming a finalist for the National Book Award. So, yeah, that's it for pensions. So, let's proceed to the next author, which is Don DeLillo. So, Don DeLillo is a renowned American novelist whose works delve into the complexities of modern American life, exploring themes of technology, consumerism, media, and the anxieties of a rapidly changing world. So his writing is characterized by its sharp wit, philosophical depth, and unique ability to capture the essence of contemporary American culture. So Don DeLillo's first novel is Americana 1971, explores the themes of consumerism and the search for authenticity in a media-saturated society. So his subsequent novels, such as End Zone in 1972, Great John Street in 1973, and The Rotner Star in 1976, established him as a writer with a distinct voice and a keen eye for the absurdities of modern life. So that was very amazing. So DeLillo continued to explore complex themes in his later novels, including Libra in 1988, a fictional account of Lee Harvey Oswald and the assassination of President John F. Kennedy in 1991, and meditation on tourism and the media's role in shaping public perception and the underworld in 1997. And that was so amazing. There are a lot of great work. So the last author that I'm going to present to you is Toni Morrison. So Toni Morrison, born Chloe Anthony Wofford, was an American novelist, essayist, and editor whose impactful works explored the complexities of the Black American experience, particularly the lives of Black women. So her powerful prose, rich storytelling, and unflinching portrayal of racism and its consequences earned her widespread acclaim and cemented her place as a literary giant. So Toni Morrison's early life was marked by the pervasive racism of the American South. Born in Lorain, Ohio in 1931, she grew up in a working-class Black family where storytelling, songs, and folk tales were central to their culture. Her family's experience with racial discrimination, including a fire set by their landlord due to unpaid rent, installed in a deep understanding of the injustice faced by the Black Americans. So that was very sad. But Morrison's education played a crucial role in shaping her intellectual and artistic development. She attended Howard University, a historically Black college, where she encountered racial segregation for the first time. She graduated with a degree in English and later earned a master's degree in American literature from Cornell University. Wow, that was so amazing. Despite of discrimination, yet she still make this a motivation to graduate and make more great work. So these experiences exposed her to wider world and of ideas and literary tradition influencing her own writing. So that's all about the 3 greatest authors. Thank you and God bless.
each and everyone. Again, I am Kate Jasmine Sanimbot from BSF English 3A. So today I will discuss the blurring of boundaries, the impact of technology, the questioning of truth and meaning. Blurring of boundaries, postmodernism challenges traditional boundaries between genres, disciplines, and even reality itself. Postmodernism rejects clear boundaries between things like art forms, disciplines, and even what real and what's made up. It's like mixing sci-fi with history in a book, or using ideas from psychology in a political discussion. The impact of technology. Postmodern literature often explores the impact of society, including its influence on communication, identity, and the nature of reality. Postmodern explores how technology changes our lives, from how we communicate to who we are. Think of stories about people struggling with online relationships or being constantly watched by technology. The questioning of truth and meaning. Postmodernism rejects the idea of universal truths or overarching explanations, instead embracing a plurality of perspectives and interpretations. Postmodernism says there's no one right answer or truth. It's more about different perspectives and how our background shape what we believe. It's like saying your truth might be different from mine, and both are valid. In short, postmodernism encourages us to question everything, embrace different viewpoints, and understand that reality is fluid and complex.
So good day everyone, I'm Siti Aiza Abelyati. So today, I will be discussing the major themes of postmodern literature. Specifically, we'll dive into the concept of fragmentation, irony, and metafiction, which are the central to understanding this literary movement. So let's explore how these themes shape postmodern storytelling. So to begin, let's define first the postmodern literature. So it emerged as a response to modernism, breaking away from traditional narratives and structures. So postmodern works emphasize subjectivity, ambiguity, and often embrace experimental styles. Unlike conventional literature, they challenge the idea of a single universal truth, focusing instead on multiple perspective and non-linear storytelling. The first theme we'll explore is fragmentation. So postmodern literature often reflects the fragmented nature of modern life. This is achieved through broken narratives, non-linear, timeless, and multiple perspectives. So by doing so, authors mimic the chaos and stability of the world around us. So for example, in Thomas Pynchon's Gravity's Rainbow. So that disjointed narrative mirrors the complexities of war and its aftermath. Next is irony. A powerful tool in postmodern literature, writers use irony and satire to critique societal norms, question authority, and highlights the limitation of language. So this playful and often humorous approach and undermines traditional conventions, making readers reflect on deeper issues. A great example is Kurt Slaughterhouse 5, which used irony to explore the absurdities of war and human existence. Next is the metafiction. So let's talk about the metafiction and hallmark of postmodern literature, metafiction. So metafiction refers to stories that draw attention to their own constructed nature. So writers often blur the line between fiction and reality by using techniques like breaking the fourth wall or embodying stories within stories. The local Venus, if on a winter's night, A Traveler is a classic example where the act of reading becomes part of the narrative itself. In summary, postmodern literature is defined by experimentation and self-awareness. Fragmentation reflects the complexity
of modern life, irony critiques societal norms, and metafiction challenges traditional notions of storytelling. So these themes encourage readers to think critically about the truth, reality, and the role of literature in understanding the world. So that's all. Thank you for listening. Let's proceed to the next discussion.
So good day everyone, especially to our Prof. Dr. Judith Martinez. So good morning everyone. So we discussed today about the Gothic novel. So what is Gothic novel? So the Gothic literary movement was initially a response to the Enlightenment era of the 18th century. This moment in history was dominated by rational truth and reason, where humanity and function based on the scientific beliefs while exploring the fields of the religion and industry. Enlightenment, the philosophers believe humanity could only better itself by focusing on a logical reasoning rather than emotional thought. So, as the 18th century came to a close, writers and philosophers began to rebel against humanity being purely driven by a logic. They protested the idea that humanity should be purely driven by rationality, which ultimately led to the emergence of the Gothic. While it does fall in the realm of Romanticism, Gothic literature explored the themes that are much darker and tragic. So, the Gothic novels, in short, this is a literary work that combines horror and romanticism, and it is characterized by a suspenseful plot and mysterious atmosphere. So here are the characteristics of the Gothic novels. Though the setting of the Gothic novels often take place in the gloomy, decaying buildings such as castles or haunted houses with a dark architecture, secret passages, and trapdoors. So the characters of the Gothic novels often feature supernatural beings or monsters such as vampires, ghosts, zombies, or giants. The plot of the Gothic novels often involve a mystery such as disappearance, unknown parentage, or some other inexplicable event. And the theme of the Gothic novels often to explore the theme of the romance, horror, fear, and dread. The atmosphere of the Gothic novels is often create the atmosphere of the suspense and mystery. About the rise of the Gothic novel. This book by Maggie Gilgold is a brilliantly written study published in 1995. It is filled with interesting observations about the text, the readers, the critics, and the theories. Here I can merely note that she points out the many contradictions between all the above. It seems that there is no common consensus about the Gothic, but instead, Kierkegaard provides her own interpretation. So, Maggie Kierkegaard. The Gothic is thus haunted by a reading of history as a dialectical process of alienation and restoration, dismembering and remembering, a version of the secularized myth of fall and return, which is essential to Romanticism, decayed aristocracy. But again, my own view is that the setting is not merely the privileged site of the old feudal aristocracy, but the castle is now significantly in ruins. The active symbol and feeling here is of an anachronistic past that continues to haunt the present rise of the middle class. Whether or not the Asian aristocracy is defended or subverted in the Gothic tale. It continues to exert a disturbing return of repressed effect.